What are then some of the challenges that you face creating out of a van?
Space. It is literally the biggest challenge. This is also an enabling space. This is a space where we dream of the future. And it didn't feel like giving everything up all over again. It felt more like going back to something.
I'm not sure if I could do that, but it's really, really cool to see how you make that space work for you.
There was a period of adjustment, but the first month was literally me repeating in my head, what the f*** am I doing with my life? I just moved into a car.
Wojtek is a digital nomad, but he's also an artist, a philosopher, and an incredibly skilled filmmaker. Or as he puts it,
I live in a van, and that's also where I create content.
Why do I travel? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Would you have taken this step if you were solo, if there was no me?
There is a big chance that you don't even know what freedom actually is.
now let's check out his van and see how he transforms it into a studio.
This is my space. This is the van. It's very funny when you film inside here. When I always saw those vans, they look very, very spacious. And when you're standing inside the van, it is spacious for what you would think a van actually kind of offers. But then when you start filming, you realize, oh my God, everything is kind of cramped and you don't have so many angles and it's hard to get a show depth of field. So I had to figure this space out after a while. It's a great space to live in. It's not the ideal space to film, but it enables me to get a lot of shots which you usually wouldn't get in a home studio.
So do you have something like, I guess, a studio corner and a living room, or is everything everything?
Everything is kind of everything. I have one go-to angle, which is over here. We can change sides and you'll see what I mean. That usually is the go-to angle. But I'm actually just using this shot for like interview stuff, or I don't know, just like as a convenient shot. This is one I can always use. This is a very natural and neutral shot.
And so where does all the gear go? How do you make this work?
This is essentially the gear that I'm always using to film. Got the tripod, which is set up roughly over there with the camera on top. And sometimes when I'm in the van, I miss the comfort of a home studio that's just always set up. Because I need to rebuild it every time and that causes friction, and that's just not ideal for making filming an easy job. But the van space also just gives me so many opportunities that a home studio doesn't give me. So I can move around, I can drive to cool places.
How is this van influencing your creativity? How is this making creation for you different than if you were in one space?
What the van space gives me, it makes me think outside the box, literally outside the van, outside the apartment that I live in. I don't like to move around too much with the van. Sometimes I need to, but I actually like to stay in places. And when you stay in places, you explore the places and you get to know the places. So when I then start scripting, I already have ideas in my head. Which locations can I use in this city, in this space around the van? Where can I put the van? Where can I drive it to? What makes sense? And that kind of shapes the story. That also gets me a little bit excited because that is what I started missing once I moved into an apartment. It was basically at some point, it was just like, I'm always here. It's always the same. I can play a little bit with the lighting, but that's not too exciting.
This is very pared down. You have a camera, you have two stands, and you have a microphone.
Yeah. Normally, I also use a monitor, which would be right in the way of the camera now. Yeah, the monitor also helps a lot since this is not much space and I want to show a depth of field because I'm, I don't know, a sucker for aesthetics. So I try to use a little bit of compression, try to get the camera away as much as possible, but then I usually cannot touch the camera anymore. And since this is manual focus, it needs to be dialed in. And that's what I use the monitor for, which I will then, like, with an HDMI cable, have right in front of me and use that. Or my wife is actually helping me. Ideally, that's the case.
It's always easier with two people.
It is.
Is there anything you miss from regular comforts? Or are you so used to this travel lifestyle now that it's just like, this is normal?
For me and Catherine, it seems quite natural to be moving around and exploring spaces. And when we are thinking about a home base, we actually almost always think about home bases. We think about having a place in Germany to live in, where our friends and family are, which are important to us, which is why we come back, which is why we opted for the van, because we don't want to be gone forever. But then we're thinking about maybe also having a space in Spain in which we spend a lot of time, and maybe a space in Scandinavia where we can spend the summers, because it's beautiful and we love the mountains and we love the sea. So this is more how we approach our future home-based situation.
Is there anything that's like really cheap that you don't want to, that's like your secret hack, or that you don't want to live without?
Well, gaff tape is very high up on the list. Are we speaking tools or also digital tools?
Digital tools?
Okay, cool. Then it's Milanote. Milanote is just that space that allows me to creatively and freely organize my thoughts. I really don't vibe with tools like Asana and whatever they're called, because they're all very listy and linear, and that's not how my brain thinks, and I generally don't think that's how divergent thinking works. It's sometimes a little bit messy, it's sometimes a little bit scattered, and in Milanote I can emulate that, but then I can order it once I'm done. Sometimes I need a little bit of creative chaos, I need it spread out, I need to look at it, and then I can start bringing it into order.
Is there something that is like really crucial to you where you say, this is like, I don't know, if a storm comes, this is the one thing I'm grabbing?
Yes. My outdoor slippers. They're my central heating replacement. I'm actually serious. This has saved my first winter. My wife was making fun of me, but they saved my winter. But since we're speaking about filmmaking,
yeah, I was expecting you to mention some kind of piece of gear, like obviously I'm taking the camera because of no slippers.
No,
that's a through line on this show, man.
No. I think it would be the MacBook, the laptop.
Right.
Yeah. So because the way I see it, I mean, I started filming with a shitty camera. I can't get a lot out of shitty cameras. Therefore, I feel like I can always replace a camera and shoot something new somehow. In the worst case, with a iPhone, even an old one. But on the laptop, I've stored many ideas and many scripts. That's why I consider the laptop more valuable. And also because, like I said, in the worst case, I only have pictures, but I still can kind of make a film or even a documentary out just of images. That's what the editing software enables me to. Although I would say I would miss the camera.
So talking about editing, there's a bed here. I'm standing kind of in the kitchen, right? Both you and your wife are working remotely.
Yes.
Is this like the desk? Like, do you work next to each other? Or do you, I don't know, have that figured out in some other way?
Well, most of the time. So what happens is, I'll get this one out, which is either a laptop stand for my lap or for the desk. And in that very drawer right next to you, if you could get my laptop out there, I can show you how this looks like. Yes. Thank you, sir.
But then Kat is sitting over here and working on her stuff?
Yes.
And you're like screen against screen?
Yes. With laptop stands, it works perfectly fine. We're basically working off like this here. Da-da-da-da-da. Kat is having a lot of calls, which I usually don't have. So we also need to sometimes manage the space in so far that if I want to film, she can't really have a call. If she's having calls, I can't film. But most of the time, the stuff that I do, whether it's scripting, ideation, preparing the stuff for YouTube, editing thumbnails, editing photos, I can all do that silently by myself. But in the future, we decided that van life only, the two of us, always is not what we want. We will rather opt for a situation that we kind of have now, which is have an Airbnb and then have the van here. Like, we don't need much. We basically need just a one-room studio Airbnb, so we can sometimes split and have our own space and have all the regular comforts of a normal home, which is running water, which is a toilet that you don't need to empty and manage yourself, which is heating maybe. Although I'm not sure whether we will actually get out and sleep outside the van, because I don't know, that has just become a thing. We sleep inside the van.
It's always weird to sleep in a new bed.
Yes, but it's more. It is, it's more than that. This has become our very intimate space. This is also an enabling space. This is a space where we dream of the future. Especially in the evenings when we close everything off, we just turn our little lights on, our vibe lights, our mood lights, it really becomes not only a safe space, but a brave space in which we're allowed to dream, in which we're allowed to have difficult conversations, inspiring conversations, in which we're allowed to take a rest, like from the world outside.
Because I was wondering about that, if you do something to separate the working environment from the personal environment, this like work-life separation, work-life balance, whatever you want to call it.
We try to be intentional. I rarely work in the bed, almost never. And it's a habitual intuition that if I go to the bed, I'm either chilling or sleeping. I'm working over here or outside or somewhere else. That's how I handle it. Kat has her own ways of doing that. But yeah, we try to be, even in the small space, very intentional about when we work, how we work, and where we work. But it's also managing. So what will happen sometimes is we want to cook, we need to clean everything up. Like we cannot leave the workplace, just get cooking and then like eat somewhere like cramped in the corner over here. Like, no, that's not happening.
I guess everything is a joint decision.
Sometimes it's joint, sometimes it's a compromise, I guess.
But where is all this quick access stuff going? Like, where is your equipment storage?
It's scattered. You'll see in a second. Let's maybe start with the camera. We'll get this out, and this goes into my camera backpack underneath, which has this quick access. Numero dos is the tripod. For a long time, I didn't know where to start it, so I started in the cabins. But that wasn't great because the cabins are for different stuff. We have clothes there, we have some cooking stuff there, and just very different stuff. So that was actually hindering me. Therefore, I found that here we have a little bit of a free space where, except for safety equipment and snacks, I, for instance, also store not only this tripod, but also the mic stand. The mic, as well as the monitor, are just up here, and I will very often just stuff stuff up there. So
you don't even put that in a bag?
No.
Or a container?
No.
I think we gotta improve the situation.
Oh, what is this? Is this a... Oh my god. I needed this so badly. This is a pouch for all the NDs and all the filters and all my hard drives. Look at this. That's a card reader. Those are SD cards. I needed those so badly. And this is very thoughtful. That's kind of the thing people might not tell you, but you'll be happy to have a lot of the bags when you're van lifing. The only thing I can say, thank you for letting me be a part of this. Angelbird, Orbit, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thanks for letting me be a part of this, and thanks for everything you got me. I'm really, really happy.
Is there anything we haven't touched upon that is crucial to your creator experience?
There's lights in the back. Back here, we have what we call a bug. Please get out, sir. Oh no, I don't want to hurt you. Okay, bye-bye. What we call the garage. It's kind of cluttered, but like that's the main space where we store sports equipment, our groceries. We have a few of those boxes, actually 4 of them, 2 here in the front, 2 in the back. You can also access the garage from the inside, but it is also where I store some filmmaking gear. I really like that one, and it's way more versatile than I formerly thought.
But how did you decide what to bring?
For all the time that Kat and I lived in Cologne, we basically, with almost every purchase that we made, asked the question, would I take that into a van? Did everything fit? No. But did it make our job a whole lot easier? Yes.
It's so interesting to see this van life in action. Because I mean, I've had some experiences, and like I think everybody watches those videos of like the van lifers going around. It's like, oh, it's so cool. You're just freedom. You can go wherever you want, whenever you want. But then like seeing not just the interior design, which is beautiful, but also how you gotta make this work if you're filming, if you're creative in any way, that adds a layer of complexity. Super cool seeing this in action. And thanks for showing me around, showing me all your little secrets.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for capturing it.
I hope some people get inspiration out of this.
Then maybe as closing words, let me say this. This is part of my studio. My actual studio is all the places I travel to.
Cool. If you enjoyed this episode, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with a fellow creative to support their journey. We're all about highlighting and connecting creators in Europe and beyond. And if you want a chance to shine on one of the future episodes, check out the survey link down below. I'm always excited to meet new creators.